So I just got a shirt all the way from Melbourne. That's in Australia, from the Prevail Team, who are a group of gamers on Twitch that I love. And because of the time difference, they're streaming when I'm waking up at 4 o'clock in the morning. And so it's super fun. I get to start my day with a bunch of really cool Australians that are fun to hang out with. And I got some merch. Also, it's a crop top and it's still cold. So my stomach is very chilly along with every other part of my body. So I'm going to probably keep this one pretty quick today too. But, again, new merch. I will tell you what we are doing today in just a minute. But before I do, hello, I am Mrs. Soap and Clay. Let's make stuff. How's it going, Sudsers? Welcome back to the channel. You are at Soap and Clay, where we make all the soapy things, and you are here for week 14 of year 3, and this week I'm just bumming everyone out with all the talk of how to market your business and if you should start a business and what to do when you start a business with your soapy hobby. I'm sorry about it. But the thing is, there's a lot of chatter about that right now, and I'm seeing so many people that are just so dejected within their soapy journey, something that they started because it was fun. And that's the whole point. We started this because it was fun. And to be perfectly honest with you, starting a business is not a lot of fun for most people. And so that's what we're going to talk about today. Whether or not you should keep your soaping hobby a hobby. And as I've said in all of these videos, this is just my opinion. I don't know every facet of your life. But, this is just sort of my rumination on this subject right now. Again, because it is one that is coming up a lot. So let's get to the video. We can watch me make and fail at a perfect teardrop while I talk about all of those things. So let's go do that. Okay, so yeah, kind of the final in this series of really just determining whether or not you even want to start out a business, right? Because you started this soapy journey for a reason, and that reason is probably vast and varied. For my part, I saw a really pretty soap once and went, what is this? And started, researching pretty soaps as opposed to just useful soaps, because I was already very familiar with how to make that, functional soaps. But starting the handcrafted soaps and whatever, and then starting a business around it, it was I saw something pretty and I wanted to make it. That artistic spirit. And I understand that probably a lot of us got into this industry exactly like that, or got into this art form. Me being me, I wanted to make all of the different soaps and have all the different colors and do all the different things. And then, oh, how about all of the other cosmetics and whatnot? And I was making products, and I realized rather quickly on that I had way too much soap, way too many cosmetics to go through in a lifetime, but I wanted to continue, making the things. And so the business was born as a result of that. Now, person like me, I actually reasonably enjoy the aspects of creating a business, right? I like everything that goes into it. A person who very much likes lists. I love time management stuff. I like having a whole lot to do and not enough time to do it. I liked the aspect of, creating my logo and creating my business name and figuring out the theme of my website, creating my product offerings. Am I going to theme everything around the entirety of the business, or just make the soaps that I want to make and just put them on? I like writing copy, actually, in the beginning. I liked that a whole lot. I liked the markets. You know, when I went to markets or whatever, I enjoyed talking to people. I am a people person. I liked retail and I really, really liked teaching. And so as a result, my business has grown very well because I like all of those things. But I continued to add a whole bunch onto my plate throughout the entire creating of the business that eventually led to really massive burnout that, in all honesty, I'm still not over. I am like, my website is back online and, you know, I'm teaching the classes and I'm here with you on the YouTubes teaching these things. But my website also has not been updated since October because I just, when I get to the point of thinking about how I need to write the next copy and put the next, you know, products up, and in order to do that, I have to create the labels and do the photography and all of the things. It gets to be too much. I'm still very much experiencing a burnout because I picked up too many aspects of the business. And unfortunately, I'm also the type of person that really has a hard time letting others assist. Even with all of the apprentices, so even with all of the employees that I have, it's like every time I hire a new one, I take that as, oh, well, that means that I can work on this new project that I really want to do, that I've been thinking about for a while. So I'm never actually any less busy. And then it becomes this whole big mess. It's actually a very stressful process. And is it a process that is right for you? This is obviously a question that I can't answer specifically for you because everybody's situation is different. But, you know, pros and cons to the creating of a business. The pro would obviously be you get to make soap, right? And that's a big pro. You like making soap. But with that comes, in order to sell the soap, either doing a market or doing an online shop. And if you're doing either one of those, that is a massive amount of preparation. Creating a booth, and you're never satisfied. You're always changing it. Creating a website, never satisfied. Always changing it. New product offerings all the time to keep things fresh. Never satisfied. Always changing it. So yeah, you get to make soap, but as I've said multiple times, like in the videos, but also in all the classes that I teach, the soap is only about 10% of this. With the actual pour itself, 10% of the actual making of the soap and 90% preparation. That's true of the business side as well. So yeah, you're making soap, but also you're doing a whole lot more to ensure that that soap is ready to go to market. Other pro would, you know, be getting finances, getting money in because you are selling your soap so you can continue to support what you probably started off with as a hobby, which is a very good pro. That's obviously a really good thing to do because you don't want to go super broke or spend all of your, you know, extra income on making the soap on this hobby, do you? I mean, the con of that would be you are so stressed out over all the things that you need to do for your business in order to keep that going. And ultimately, you end up spending a whole lot more money in the process overall, changing it from a hobby to a business because you want a bigger inventory, you want more offerings, you want all of the pretty things, right? That you could end up spending more money and also be stressed out because it's not just the soap making. And so this thing that used to bring you joy just for the making, now it's just this like albatross that's hanging around your neck. So there's that. Another pro of starting a business with the soapy journey would obviously be the validation. We all like to be told that we're doing a good job and we've made something beautiful, for sure. But a con with all of that is obviously going to be the reverse of that when somebody tells you that they don't like your soap, or that you're doing it wrong, or that they would never use animal fats, or that they would never use palm, and so therefore your soap is, you know, inferior. Another con, honestly, of dealing with that is dealing with the vendors at the markets, because some of them are wild. I actually saw a chat in Discord today about a market that one of the sudsers are currently at, and some vendor is there claiming that their CBD soap is doing things that a CBD soap cannot do, and also making medical claims. And it's frustrating to be in the market with other soapers while you obviously don't want to see them as your competition and be like catty and petty and, you know, whatever. Like, don't do that. Don't ever go and like correct them, because it's just not a good look. Obviously, always just focus on your own business, but it's still disheartening to see that going on when you have the better information that says, oh, well, I can't claim that my CBD soap does some kind of thing, because, you know, those are medical claims at that point. It's very confusing. And it feels bad. So then you watch other people buy their soap instead of yours, for example, and you're not getting that validation anymore. You're getting made to feel that, maybe you didn't do a good job. Maybe you need to go back to the drawing board. Maybe you need to change your soaps. Maybe you need to change your marketing. Maybe you need to change your booth. Maybe you need to change your display. Maybe you need to change everything about you as a person in order to sell this bar of soap that, 3 months ago, you just loved making for you. And I totally get it, needing the validation and whatnot as artists. And this is a form of artistry for sure. We all want to feel like somebody is caring about and, appreciating all of the work and effort and time and thought that went into this artistic thing that we just made. That is a very normal thing. Something that I think all artists experience. We have the type of society that, sort of shows that the validation comes from how many people enjoy it and buy it and, give you doll hairs for the thing that you've just done. And it sort of makes sense, I guess, but then also it really doesn't, because it still doesn't take into account the actual hard work that went into something, all of the stuff that you put into it. I mean, I come from a very artistic family. My brother, Mr. Webman, has done everything. He has explored and excelled at every medium there is out there. He's done incredible stuff, from paintings to sculptures to, web design to comic books, all of it. And, so has his wife. And it's a really incredible process that they go through, and they put a lot of thought and effort into it. I mean, I'm pretty sure it was either my brother or his wife that wrote their thesis paper for their degree on just like essentially building a logo and coloring and stuff. And it's just wild. When I read that, I'm like, oh my God, there's way more that goes into just this one little thing, this one little aspect than I even realized. But that's the thing. Even the buying of it, people still don't realize that. When my, brother drops off something cool that he's made for me or the kids, or, so does his wife, or my mom drops off one of these amazing quilts that she's made and spent all this time and thought and energy into making this quilt, I obviously am appreciative, and I'm like, this is cool. I love this. Thank you so much. And I talk about it and the colors and the patterns and the things that I sort of know how to talk about, but I still am not going to ever actually hit the mark on really showing them that I am aware of how much work went into it. And that wouldn't change just by nature of spending some doll hairs. You know what I mean? Taylor Swift is the best-selling artist to ever exist in the history of ever. And this tour that's coming up in 11 days, it's starting. You guys, Eras tour somebody spent on a ticket to go to the concert or spent on an album still is not really showing the artist that they understand just how much work went into this, how much blood, sweat, and tears. So tying the validation that you have with, an artistic expression or whatever to whether or not somebody buys it is not the best and healthiest thing, especially since with that can come the whole idea of if somebody doesn't buy, that means you're not validated and you suck at something. Like you're not good at this thing that you're doing. And so it can go both ways with that for sure. So I don't know that starting a business is necessarily going to help you with that particular piece. But these are things to think about, I suppose, when deciding whether or not this should be a business. I'm not talking about any of this to like bum you out or discourage you from starting a business, because obviously if this is where your heart soul lies and this is what you want to do and you are well aware of all of the stuff that goes along with it, that's fine. Do that. I encourage that 100%. And I will support you and champion you and, want all of the best for you and your soapy journey, whatever that may be. But I've seen a lot of people that have been, honestly, just like DMing me when it comes to like the the Project Soapway challenges, saying I really want to do it, but I don't have a business. I don't require that. Like that's not a thing that is a requirement to celebrate the sudsers and support them. But also there are some sudsers that are just kind of taking a break from it right now. And also feeling like because they took a break from it from the business side, they can't participate in the conversation. And I think that's silly, because if you have decided that you just can't handle all of the other stuff that's a lot less fun than making soap, please don't do it. Don't do that. Don't make your life miserable. Don't make this beautiful thing that we have in front of you, this idea where like soap, chemistry, artistry becomes magic. don't take that and, spoil it for yourself. And also don't think that you have to have a business in order to be a voice within the community, because having a business is not an indication of whether or not you're actually good at the thing, as evidenced by the, example I gave earlier about that vendor at that fair talking about CBD soaps. That person is not very good at making of the soaps and knowing of the things if those are the things that they're telling their customers. So if you want to keep this a hobby, you totally can. There is nothing wrong with that. And, remembering there are a lot of really expensive hobbies out there that are wildly more expensive than something like making soap. And so if money is your only motivating factor to start the business, maybe rethink that. I don't know. Again, I'm not you, and I obviously just want the best for you, but these are definite concerns when you are trying to figure out whether or not you're going to keep this a hobby or turn it into a business, which is a ton of work. And yeah, ultimately, everything that you do, every decision that you make as to whether or not you're going to start a business, it does come down to your personal needs and wants. And if it stresses you out to, start a website, which is stressful because it's not just, oh, I have my domain and my template and now I'm ready to go, right? It's so much more involved because you have to write all that copy. You have to put in all of those pictures. You have to take all those pictures. You have to get your SEO in line. You have to keep track of inventory. It's a lot. So if that stresses you out, there's one sign that maybe an online business is not in your future for sure. Starting a retail business, there's a lot of people who don't shop retail anymore and they prefer to do things online. So there's also that. Doing fairs and booths. Do you want to go do that every single day or weekend or whatever and do the setup and the takedown? Does that bring you joy? Those things don't bring you joy, then maybe you should be just sticking to this as just a hobby, because there is so much more involved in the business running of soap than just making the soap. Like I have said a million times in videos as well as in every class I teach, soaping is 90% preparation and only like 10% of actually making the soap. That's also true within the business side. So if you're not ready to take on that challenge, don't turn this thing that you love doing into something that stresses you out all of the time. And it's okay. There is nothing wrong with someone who wants to soap just for the love of soaping, because that's kind of the point with this artistic expression. But to that, a lot of the recipes and the things that I do are very much like business focused on this channel. So if you are a hobbyist and you want to continue on doing this as a hobby, but would like some, insight and stuff, let me know. I am more than happy to really sit down and think about good ways to give you, inexpensive recipes that are easy, that you can do in small batches. We can do a whole lot of brainstorming, right? With like creating your own molds and finding the cheaper oils and all of those things. Then, really how I approach a lot of this. So let me know if you're interested in that. We can definitely put a playlist together for that and add to it as the need arises. But the need for this arose because I see you. I see a lot of people out there kind of feeling the weirdness that is, February, March of 2023, looking back at sales of 2022 and going, well, what happened? It's a weird time, and I cannot really make the decision for you as to whether or not you're okay with starting this business. And just keep in mind before you start thinking that you have to, start a business because your soaping hobby is expensive. There are a lot of hobbies out there that are super expensive. Like my mother loves making quilts. Like, dude, quilts, And with all of that, because like fabric is really expensive and it's a lot of time to piece one quilt and whatever, and you get everything and it's a very artistic expression. It can be very stressful to get all your pattern and everything arranged. And then you piece all that together. And then you have this massive, blanket quilt that you have to send somewhere else to actually get quilted, to get top stitched so everything stays together. And she was paying, I don't know, something like $300 a quilt to send that off just to give a nice gift to her, family, right? And her reaction to all of that was, well, I'm going to go ahead and buy my own quilting machine which is expensive to do the quilting myself. So that machine will pay itself off in the long run because I'm not hiring this other person to make the quilt, to quilt the quilt for me. That's an expensive hobby. So don't get down on yourself and think that if you want to keep this a hobby, that's dumb or a bad decision or whatever, because you are making art. It's an artistic expression and it's useful art. You get to use it. It's consumable. It's nice. Your skin feels good. Your family likes it. Your friends like it. And that can be enough. If that's what you want, do the thing. And if what you want is to start a business, do that thing. And I'm here to support you in either endeavor, for sure. I'm not here anymore though, because I gotta go. It really is very cold and my belly's cold and my hands, there are like mean people on the internet that always talk mad shit about my hands. Like, what's wrong with your hands? I have shit circulation is the answer to that in most instances. So I, always have the redness, but also I use my hands a lot. I'm not very nice to them, but they're turning purple is the point. Talking about my hands. And you guys could stop commenting about my hands because it's mean. But anyway, so I'm going to go. I hope you guys are having a great day. Thank you to the Sudsers for being here. Thank you to everyone for joining me today. I will see you guys all again tomorrow. Probably a couple days. Actually, it won't be tomorrow because I still need to do some edits for the next week. So, a couple days. But, I'll be here eventually. And I'll be bringing soapy fun. Bye.